Okay, the next thing that I trimmed down, I actually removed a couple of these 6-slot fast tabs. You can see I still have 2 on here. I wanted to leave those because it gives me options with tie down. I actually have a couple of loops that I'm going to leave on here, and I can use this as additional pull down here to keep the cover on. So I just thought that that would be a good idea. The place that these came off of were at the very top of the pack here for lashing light items, sleeping bags, tarps, blankets, that sort of thing. But the way that I'm going to configure things, I typically don't stack up real high up here, and so these weren't doing anything for me, and you know, everything adds up. Alright, next thing here, there's a couple of bungees. I forget where those came from, but it came with the pack, and I'm not using those. They've got steel hooks on them, and it's kind of heavy. Alright, you can see here, a lot of what I've cut off is 1-inch webbing, and there's quite a bit of it. And a lot of this 1-inch webbing has loops on the end, like this. See, it's going to be a little hard to do this. All right. So a lot of those are actually doubled over, so there's quite a bit of weight in there when you start adding all this stuff up. Here's some 2-inch straps, also doubled up at the end or folded over. These were just extra long. You know, these packs are made to fit a wide range of people, and I could have done this a long time ago, but it wasn't really important to me until now, and so I decided to take this on. But you can see here, I've got a lot of extra stuff, and this is all off of this Alaskan pack. Here's some more stuff. Here's some little buckles that I didn't need. I'll get rid of those. Some extra tabs that were on there that I didn't need. Here's some elastic. These were kind of holding the extra material for the belt loop. Yeah, I guess that's what I mean, belt support. These were to tuck in the excess material from the belt support. So once I shortened the extra material that was hanging out, flopping around the sides, I didn't need this anymore. So all of this stuff came off. All of these big cord stops here, I ditched all of these and went to mini cord stops all over the entire pack. I think there was 4 of them. Now they're all minis. Another thing, and this is actually in a way the last thing, some extra draw cord that was on there that I got rid of. And the last thing is this bunch of stuff here. All of these are cord ends, locking cord ends, or cord end tabs, and they're big, bulky, heavy tabs that I got rid of. And this is the piece of cord that went into, get rid of all that stuff. This is the piece of cord that went into the end stop right here. So almost every zipper on this thing had that on here. I went to a real lightweight Dyneema line. Probably have to zoom in a little bit. Let's start here because you can see this. Went to a real lightweight line. They no longer have cord stops. I just tied a square knot in the end, and makes it real easy to operate the zipper here. These pockets are pretty stuffed, as you can see, but works really well. And so I shed a lot of weight there. This is probably 1/3 or less of the weight of the big cord ends there. All of that 1-inch webbing that I showed you, that used to come off of here. These went all the way down, and it was made to tie through here. Now, I did leave a lot of extra attachment points for myself, just so that I still have a flexible system. I didn't want to lose everything. I could have cut these off, but I wanted to leave those in case I wanted to loop something down through here. Same thing with these. I can loop from here to here if I want. I can loop to the 6-slot fast tabs here. You can see these, hopefully, down here. Now all of this has been left so I can lash a side load underneath these pockets. Okay, these pockets are actually sewn at the edges here and here, but not at the top and bottom. So you can actually put gear behind this. So anything that you want to put here, you can lash there. You can also lash down along the side because it's got this here. So if I want to run an item up underneath here, I can do that and it would just stick up a little bit depending on what it is. I'm going to show you some different options when we get into this pack a little bit more detailed. Alright guys, I've got a little bag here. I'm going to collect all of this stuff and throw it into the bag, and then we'll throw it on the scale. And just to show you that, yeah, it really does weigh that much when you add everything all up. Okay, hopefully those numbers on there will be visible for the camera. Here's the bag of stuff. First bag. And we got 0.72 pounds. And see if I can get this to hang on here. And very cool. Well, my scale is certainly consistent. That is what I measured earlier at 1.23 pounds. So pretty substantial weight savings. Let's talk about that really quick. Alright, Cabelas lists this total pack weight of the Alaskan II, 6 pounds 10 ounces. Actual weight measured was 6 pounds 11.3 ounces, or 6.71 pounds. After shedding 1.23 pounds, I've now got the pack weight at 5.48 pounds, same as 5 pounds 7 ounces. So we're right there. 5.5 pounds for a pack this size, especially being an external frame. It's pretty darn good. Most of the high-performance internal frames out there are only about 1 pound lighter, or about 4.5 pounds. Most are somewhere between 4.5 and 5 pounds. So in actuality, I'm between a pound and a pound and a half heavy as compared to what I could be using. Now, another one of the reasons that I need, or I desire, or I want a external frame pack is because of the amount of weight that I'm carrying. To me, an external frame pack supports the weight a little bit better in most circumstances than an internal frame. What kind of weights are we talking about? Well, my goal was to keep it under 50 pounds. That's a heavy pack, especially for a guy like me who's counting ounces. It's a heavy pack. Now, I'm actually quite a bit under 50. We'll talk about that later when I kind of dissect what my equipment is in here. But to give you an idea, I have 6 liters of water in this pack right now. At 2.2 pounds per liter, you can see where that goes. I have my food weight in here right now. It's about 6.5 pounds in one bag, and then about another 3 pounds up top here. Okay, so you can see right there where all that weight comes from. And I guess I haven't touched on this yet. This is a series that I'm going to start, and we're going to focus on what I call my 7-day pack. It's probably what the title's going to be. This is my 7-day backpack. I don't want to call it a bug-out kit because there's so much wrong with the terminology bug-out kit. If I say bug-out kit, it almost makes it seem as if I'm agreeing with the concept of bugging out, and I'm really not. To use that word, I think it implies a very particular type of circumstance, and I would want to talk about that and address it directly. So if somebody else wants to call it a bug-out kit, then that's great, or a long-term bug-out kit, that's cool. It's definitely not a 72-hour kit. It's a 7-day pack. When I say 7 days, that means that I have 7 days of food. If I was not able to hunt anything else or add to my diet, add to my calories that are already in here, I can live with about 3,000 to 3,500 calories a day with the food that I have contained in here. That means that I have fuel to cook my food, to boil water for a week, to rehydrate the food that's in here. I have enough fuel to do that. I have all the supplies and comfort and bathroom items, everything that I need to be in the wilderness for a week by myself. This pack has that. Now there's going to be some clothing items that aren't going to be in the pack, my boots, my whatever I'm going to be wearing, but my extra clothes are in here as well. I'm working with a hammock system, so that's my main sleep system is going to be a hammock with a tarp over the top. I originally had a poly tarp in here. I actually switched that up and I'm relying on something else which you guys will eventually see. So I've got all of my bedding, my extra clothes, everything that I need in here, all of my supplies for 1 week. So we're going to be testing that out here, and I think about 1 week I'm just going to do an overnighter just to carry the weight of this pack and to see how the load feels. Depending on how the load feels, I'll shift weights around a little bit. I might move the weight in closer to my back. I might move it up or down. I'm just going to get this dialed in, and once I have that system in place, I'm going to write that system down and keep everything where I like it. Most of the water is low. I've got 1.5 liters here, 1.5 liters here, and I got a camel, or not a camelback, but a platypus 3-liter center, which you probably saw the drink hose coming from. But that'll kind of give you an idea on water or how that's arranged. Fuel's over here too. But again, we're going to get into that. Now, I didn't actually mean to start off on that yet, but since that is covered now, again, this is going to be a series where we're going to talk about, I'm going to unload this thing for you and show you everything that's in here, and I might take the scale with and kind of go through the weights and talk about the different equipment. But once we do that, then I'm going to start dissecting the individual components of my pack, show you gear that I've never reviewed before, stuff that I've been using. So most of the items in here I've been using for quite a while. It's just that I haven't put them all together in this type of a system. Once this is all together, that equipment's going to stay in here. The weight that came off of the pack, that's what I was referring to when I said I got ahead of myself. The weight that came off of that pack, that 1.23 pounds. A lot of people, if you're not familiar with the ultralight backpacking community, or you've never considered the weight of a pack or kind of delved into that whole universe of backpacking, 1.22 pounds might not seem like very much weight, but it actually is a substantial amount of weight. This sleeping pad that I have, for instance, is only 9 ounces. So when you think that I can gain a sleeping pad and then some for the amount of weight that I've taken off, then all of a sudden it seems like a lot. So the sleeping pad takes up some volume, but it's very lightweight. It's also lighter than my water filter system and my stove combined. Now that doesn't include fuel, but the weight that came off my stove and my water filter system is lighter than what came off. So it just kind of shows you the gear that you can take because you've shed some weight or you leave some things at home that you're not going to use. Now, you've seen my 72-hour kit or my EDC kit, that is the thing that I usually carry with me every day. And there's a lot of comfort items in there. There's a lot of just have it in case I need it type of things. Maybe it's leaving work and heading out to the desert, doing a little scouting or a little glassing for animals, that type of thing. And I want to have that stuff with me. In that type of a system, it doesn't matter to me that much because I'm not having to carry that weight. I'm not having to hike that weight. If I was ever in an emergency where I had to carry that weight, anything I didn't need, I would stash it, ditch it, leave it in the car, whatever, if it was too heavy for me. So I've got options. This, I don't have those options, so I don't have a whole bunch of other comfort items. You'll see in my bathroom bag, for instance, the pains that I went to keep grams at a minimum. All of these things add up. If just based off of what I told you about the amount of water and food that I have in here, it's very easy to calculate what that weighs. You can see that and the weight of my pack at 5.48 pounds, you can see that the rest of my gear that's going to last me a week here is actually very light stuff, from my clothing to my sleeping bag and my sleeping pad, my hammock system, my stove, my water filter, the stuff that I need to live and cook food in and have shelter over my head. All of these things are very light. In fact, if I combine this into an ultralight system or into a Gossamer gear bag, which I also have one of those, that's for a different type of thing though. That's a specific lightweight hiking pack. If I put those items in there, you can see I'm basically a 15-pound pack, and that would be something, not including water and food, but if I was to take a 3-liter bottle or 3 liters of water with me and a night's worth of food, I'm not much over 20. Being under 25 pounds is pretty light. Might not be ultralight for the ultralight backpacking crowd, but for the hunting crowd and the scouting crowd and the mountaineering crowd out there, 25 pounds isn't much weight to carry. That's typically how I like to go out for a day hike. Or, I'm sorry, not a day hike, but an overnight hike. Well guys, thanks a lot for staying with me on this series. I don't know how long it's going to be, but with all the gear that we're going to talk about, it could be 10 or 12 parts. And this is going to be part 2. I know that for sure right now because part 1's uploading right now. But I think this is going to be a really fun series. It's going to kind of cross over into the survival and bug out type of crowd. I know that they'll be interested in that. And the ultralight crowd, or the backpacking crowd, might be interested in some of the stuff that I'm using here. My water filter is a bit new, but I have enough testing under the belt with this filter system that I really like it and I'm really impressed with it. And I'm going to show you, we're going to spread out the water filters, and I'm going to show you my old stuff and then the newest thing here. So I think you're going to like this. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to cover some pretty cool gear. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoy this entire series, because I know I'm going to have a ton of fun making it, because this kind of stuff, I kind of have a passion about this stuff. It's really fun for me because I'm a fact figure type of dude, and so I like to sit around and calculate out my weights and see what I'm saving by getting rid of the toothbrush container. You know, all of that stuff adds up, and I had a blast lightening this pack. So that was fun, and I'm glad to be showing it to you guys. Thanks for sticking with me, and hope you enjoy the whole series, guys. Patriot out.